The following program includes the opinions of CONK News and those of the call-in participants. It does not reflect the views of our sponsors.
But just wait. I will have my day.
It wouldn't be the same without a crack from you before the intro.
Tradition.
Don Zorro
Tradition.
strikes again.
From the pages of CONK News at CONK.com and from the headquarters of CONK News at Broadway and Central in Northeast Minneapolis, welcome to CONK News Weekend, your alternative Sunday show for the weekend of April 22nd to 25th, 2022.
You know, I like that idea. I like that idea of people turning on their TV, instead of turning on their TV sets at around 8 o'clock, they'll just go to the computers and just say, okay, to hell with all that other stuff.
Seriously.
Let's listen to the CONK guys, and that'll be the way I start my Sunday.
Why
just
would
before I go to church.
Why would anybody listen? That shit is so boring. My God, it's like, did I ever tell you guys a story about a friend of mine competed with George Stephanopoulos for The Love of a Woman?
Oh, yes.
And my friend won.
Yes.
Yeah, of course he married.
We were happy to hear that
Yeah,
story.
I know. I've told that story. Yeah, I don't. I only have so many stories, Don. So it's like, you know, I just rifle through them over and over again. That's it. So, at any rate, I'm Jim Peters. I'm the editor-in-chief of CONK News. Around the table, we had a full crew today. Around the table, big broadcast table, we got Hank Reardon,
Good afternoon.
Tim Conaway,
I'm here.
Don Zorro, and in his office in Joplin, Missouri, we have Larry Newman. Hi, Larry.
Hey.
Hey, you sound good, man. How are you doing, Larry?
Oh, doing great.
Hey, Larry, Joplin was in the news recently. Some sort of weird protest, some idiots getting together. Dang it, I should have remembered better. It was at the beginning of the week, and I saw some sort of protest that was going on, and it was in Joplin. Oh, no. It wasn't a protest. It was these women, and they were wearing these T-shirts about promoting whatever woke thing that's going on in Joplin. Yeah, there were like 5 of them, all of them fairly overweight. And
They
touting
fit in
whatever.
here.
Yeah.
That's right.
Sorry.
So, although fit in might not be quite
Don is
the
very
word we're looking
svelte.
for.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
So does that sound familiar to you,
We'll
Larry?
pin Don between a couple of them.
Thank you for
my God.
the sandwich suggestion.
You're a terrible human being. Talk about me.
Larry,
you.
does that sound familiar at all to you?
No, that's news to me. I mean,
Okay.
I don't know where all 3 of them come from, but
Yeah. Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll look up the piece that I saw, so to speak, and
that'd
send
be
you a
great,
link.
yeah.
I hate to say this because not really. I'm going to get in so
Really?
much trouble for saying this, but why is it at all these protests that most of the people protesting seem to be over women who are maybe a slight bit zoftic?
Let's go further than that.
All right,
Because there are plenty of zaftig women that are actually very, very pretty.
that's true. I
But
agree.
it's more than that.
Yes.
With the hair and with the nails that they drive into their foreheads and their noses and all this, they all just have to look weird. Doesn't anybody who looks normal show up to any of these leftists?
I don't know.
Because these people can't get jobs, so that's why they're out there. It's like the protest. Every time you see, and we don't get this much anymore, but it used to be like once a week there'd be some protest in some place in the Middle East about against the U.S. and the Western influence, and there'd be tens of thousands of people in the street, and every one of them in the photo as angry as they could possibly get. And I'm thinking, this is the middle of the day. Where'd all these people come from? They don't have jobs. I guess it's the oil money paying for everybody's, so that they don't have to get out there. And then the other thing is that, they would all be holding up signs. And even though this is in Iran or Iraq or Syria or wherever, the signs would all be in English. So it's like,
Well, they stopped at our embassy to grab the signs before they went to the protest.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
So, there's the people who can do these things do not have any scheduling commitments that conflict with their ability to go out and stand in the street and feel good about themselves.
Yeah, but isn't me? There's more weird-looking women than there are weird-looking men. Is that am
Well,
I?
the problem is that you can't tell whether they're men. And so you're just saying, "Oh, there's another chick," and they go, "Wait a minute."
Not me.
Those are those are the ones that are angry because straight men won't date them.
Well, that's
The hell is that?
I think. Unfortunately, that's a stereotype that I think might be more or less true.
No,
I mean,
it's not a stereotype. This is a whole movement within the trans community where they insist that if you are straight but you don't want to date some guy that's pretending to be a girl, well, you're the one that's messed up. I love that kind of logic.
well, all right, so now you brought this up, so this is actually on the rundown for today.
Well, of course it is, because that's what I do.
I know you predict what's going on.
I predict
That's
the
right.
future because I can do this.
Yes, that's right, because you are Zorro. Because I predicted, you guys remember, I predicted this would happen, and that is there were articles in the press this week about the fact that people in the gay and lesbian community, specifically the gay community, are getting pissed off about being lumped in with the transgender community.
That's right.
And they are. And for the very reason you're talking about, a lot of the lesbians are getting very, very angry. And for the very same reason you brought up, what they're talking about, Don, and that is that these men are claiming to be lesbian women, and they want to have sex with lesbian women, but they want to have penetrative sex using their penis, and that's not what lesbianism is. So, and I know a few what the women call the gold star lesbians who've never had sex with a man in their life, and they don't want to go there. That's
Yeah, well, it's, and that's the other part of this shit. I'm a woman, but, I've still got male genitals, and they still function, and I still want to use them the way it was intended for men to use them, but I'm a woman.
That's right. Doesn't it make you? That makes you a dude in women's clothes, I think.
Yeah.
Dude looks like a lady. Leave it to
Was
Aerosmith.
Aerosmith really that?
That's right. They were that profound.
Oh, that's
right.
a song?
Yeah.
I love it.
Hold on,
I love it.
One of the
Oh, my
greatest
God.
lyric writers of all time.
You were locked in a room when you were a child,
No,
weren't you? Yeah.
Child?
Yeah, I know.
Dude, when I was
Adults.
a child, it was the Beatles, all
That's
right?
right.
So this is a little bit later. No,
That's right.
This was 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steven Tyler.
Yeah. So anyway, okay, we discussed that. I do have a couple quotes I wanted to read here. This is from a woman named Natasha Chart, and she is a lesbian activist who opposes transgender ideology. She said, "The Democrat Party is just pushing us under the water. I'll take that outreach over people who agree with me on almost everything politically, but are going to deny the full and healthy life of the next generation of kids like me." She's talking about the fact that she's basically lumping herself in with the conservatives, even though she's not a conservative. And I know a lot of lesbians here in town because of the community that I've only heard of one single conservative lesbian. There's a whole bunch of the gay men who are conservative.
You know what's interesting? With that community, it's only the issue of homosexuality or what they perceive to be the issues as far as conservatives are concerned with that, where they part company. They're with us on a lot of stuff. They really are. I mean, they know where to get power tools and things also.
Yeah.
So that's always helpful.
Yeah. The thing is, first of all, like I said, there's a whole bunch of gay men that are politically in the closet. I know a whole bunch of gay men who are conservatives.
Oh, yeah.
With the women, you're absolutely right in the sense that in their mind, the conservatives and Republicans in particular have basically denounced their lifestyle for generations. So that's where they're angry. But beyond that, once you get beyond that, you're right. It's astonishing. In some ways, you could say we have more in common than not. And this is what this chart woman is saying. She's saying that, I may disagree with the conservative community on politically almost everything, but on this, they're right. And so I just thought, there you go. I threw that out.
Yeah,
and that's my
and
job.
I would even argue that we part company on almost everything. I bet you we got a lot more in common.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, what does everyone? You want to be left alone. You want to be able to work. You want to be able to just kind of do your stuff and unencumbered. Well, That's a lot of what conservatism is about.
Yes.
Hey, Larry, have you taken into custody any interestingly dressed people recently?
It's quite often it's interestingly dressed people, or when they're not expecting us coming. Sometimes it's a lot of not dressed people. That's more what I see, and that's disgusting in itself. But anyway, so every once in a while, Joplin, we tend to be down here in the rural area of the country, and we don't get inundated with that kind of stuff as much as maybe other areas.
Right.
So we don't see it too often.
There's a theory about how homosexuality originates. I don't know if you guys have heard this, and the theory is, the medical theory is that that at a very crucial point in embryo gestation, stress on the mother flips some hormones in the fetus, and that's why, according to this theory, there's a reason why more homosexual people are born in cities and urban areas and rural areas, because there's more life stress in general in cities than there are in the country. That's the theory. That's the theory.
Well, using my medical background in this, I'm going to say that just sounds like bullshit.
Well, I'll tell you. All right. I'm telling you. No.
That's the most accurate medical theory I've heard.
Yeah.
From Ohio comes the truth.
That's a little bit.
Now, the one study that I did see, I don't remember the program, but this was back in the days of television. They were talking about boys whose fathers divorced and basically left the family, fatherless, except for maybe, the occasional visit or whatever. But the mother was basically in charge of raising them. They said there was this overwhelming statistic where when the dads left at around age 2, the statistics of these boys becoming homosexual was noticeably off. It was noticeably skewed in that direction. And that one now makes a little bit more sense in terms of
makes a lot more sense.
Not having, a dad to model, and what if you've got sisters, and this is what you're seeing, and this is what the kind of stuff you're talking about as you hear them, if they happen to be older, coming into puberty and talking about boys and whatnot. I mean, I think it is one of the most complex things. I have a friend who told me that for the longest time she was literally asexual. She just didn't care one way or the other until she was in college, and then she had this boing moment with this other girl that was nearby, but it was an unrequited kind of situation. She just, like I say, just something went off, and she just fell in love with it. This girl never said anything to her, but then started to say, "Holy smokes, am I lesbian?" And then noticed that guys weren't really of interest to her, and so she said, "Okay." So a case like that, to me, I say, okay, there seems to be a natural progression there. What the cause is, I couldn't possibly tell you. I don't know what the rest of her family situation was like, but these external influences are important. As far as internal, I don't know. I don't.
I was raised on the theory that originally there were the androgynes, which were it was like two people who kind of shared the same body, but they had each part of them had 2 arms and 2 legs. They each had a head and stuff. And then at some point, the androgynes were more interested in each other than they were in the gods. And so,
what the fuck are you talking about? God damn it!
This is.
I'm not that stupid, am I?
This is part of Greek mythology.
Yes.
The gods split them. God split them in half to separate them because they were too interested in more interested in each other than the gods.
I just want to point out, no one can see this. Hank is mocking you.
No, I am not. No, one came with outdoor plumbing, one with indoor.
Well, that was it. Sometimes the androgyne, one part was male, one part was female. Sometimes one part was male and male, female and female. And they split them up, and so throughout all of time, the descendants of these people are looking for their other half. And that's why we have homosexuals and why we have heterosexuals.
And that's why I'm not looking for anybody. Is that the reason? I want to leave me the fuck alone. I don't want to talk to anybody anymore.
Not everybody on Earth was an androgyne. There were just the regular people descended from squirrels or whatever.
I'm watching the television behind your head, Tim, and I have this on the rundown for today, even though Hank and I talked about this on the radio show yesterday, and that is, what the hell is with this Amber Heard thing and Johnny Depp thing on television? Who cares?
Thank you for bringing that up. It's like,
well, why is Fox running it?
That's right. Why is Fox running it?
Someone's paying for that.
Why did Fox spend an hour the day that Tiger Woods had his car accident? Why did they spend an hour on the 5 talking about it? Greg Gutfeld was out of his mind, saying, why did we just spend an entire show on this? And then the A block on every other newscast. I so thought we were over this kind of
So did I.
I mean, this is just one issue that I could not care possibly.
Z, the reason I actually brought this up is because of the topic we're on, and this did not get from television. I did this by reading, because I read a lot, and Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's relationship apparently started on a stage kiss they did for a movie. So, and the thing is, they said, and this is the weird thing. You're talking about your friends and stuff. Who can explain this? They had to do an on-screen kiss as actors, and they said they both realized something happened.
But I can't imagine that's that unusual, though, right? I mean, right?
But the thing is, my point is, sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. And who's to explain why or how?
Well, I would say more often than not, somebody on the set, especially the actors and actresses, if they have to be involved with their characters and have that on-screen chemistry and stuff, that there is that, that they feel genuinely in love with each other until the movie is over. And same with directors and actresses and stuff. I mean, it's really fairly common, but it usually only lasts until the production is over, and then it's like they realize, oh, we were just pretending.
Yeah, but we've all gone on dates. I mean, I still remember very distinctly a very attractive woman I dated.
You've gone on dates?
I've gone on dates. Well, it's a million years ago. I mean, nothing. There was nothing. I mean, and the thing is, I'm trying to figure out why there's nothing. I mean, I'm looking at her. She's beautiful. It's like she likes me. There's nothing, And then, who can explain this stuff? It's just weird.
Larry can explain it.
Larry, go ahead. Explain it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, first, I'm really glad that I'm not on video or in the studio with you guys. But anyway, I don't think there's any way to explain that feeling. It's like Jim just talked about. I mean, it's there or it's not there, and who knows how it happens. But
yeah, that's the thing. It's complete. It's a complete mystery.
Yeah.
All we do know though is that one is a function of biology. One is supposed to lead to procreation, and so that's the norm. Do you guys remember years ago when Dr. Laura Schlesinger was talking to somebody who had called in and referred to homosexuality as an aberration? And she was speaking not morally or anything like that. She was speaking completely biologically. We are meant to procreate, and homosexuality doesn't do that, not in any kind of natural way. And she got descended upon by the gay community, who just, how can you say that? And she's saying, I was just speaking as somebody who has studied, medicine and physiology and biology and things like that. Even though she's a doctor of psychotherapy, she has studied all this stuff, and she was speaking the truth. It's one of those things that, like, this is going to be hard to hear, but this is truth. And this is the thing: people can't handle this whole hard to hear thing. They cannot handle the truth, as Tom Cruise or Jack Nicholson said. Yeah, as Jack Nicholson said. And this is, I think it was probably one of the first signs of our lack of maturation, or our descending backwards in terms of being an immature society, not growing forward into people that can accept news that is difficult but is true. And now we're surrounded by communities that descend upon you if you say something that to them is uncomfortable. And so I think it was you last week that was saying that the whole idea of things that are becoming more and more and more uncomfortable, until I say, that's not the best shirt you've ever worn, or man, really, did you lose a bet buying those shoes? You can't even kid around like that anymore. So there we are. If it's possible for something that's heading towards ripeness to go back.
The thing about defining what's quote unquote normative is you also have to consider the number of cases involved, because the thing that's completely indisputable about the gay community is they're a distinct minority. You know what I mean? I mean, so now I don't know if that makes that abnormal or not. I go back to the thing about the fact that virtually every mammal species on the planet seems to have a certain percentage of homosexual population. So, and they're not thinking about it. So, there's that. But the thing is, as the best guess is that homosexuals only make up 5 to 10% of the American population. So, in that sense, as a minority, you can make it the point that it's aberrational.
But to the point you were making a couple of weeks ago, this is why you're talking about labels. And I was in the car listening to the show, and I was screaming to myself. I said, "This is why we keep adding letters to the whole LGBT."
Oh God, it's hilarious.
The more people that you put into these little pockets thing, then the more people that you have that say, well, I'm a little like that, and I'm a little like that, and I'm a little like that, because it used to be the lesbian gay community. Then the people who were bisexual said, well, we want to be included.
Yeah.
Even though the lesbian gay community really don't like the bisexuals.
That's correct. They don't.
They don't.
That's right.
They said, okay, fine, we'll bring you in. Then the trans going, well, this one's now we're that, and now we're plus. So,
and they'll water it down enough that it won't matter. So they're on the path.
That's right.
And all of a sudden, it's like, well, who cares?
What's my letter? What's my alphabet letter?
Yours is Z.
You're 27.
Z. Okay, Z.
Go ahead.
We've had homosexuality for thousands of years. It's written into history, and even the Bible refers to it. It's Aboriginal, or it's
before history.
Unnatural.
Yeah.
And human nature, if you want to push what you think on other people, you stand up and you beat your chest and you beat the desk and you pound it, even though you know it's wrong and it's incorrect. You're going to make more noise because of that, because you want to think that you yourself are doing what should be when you know you're not. And that's why it gets pushed on us so hard.
Yeah.
I'm going to end this. We're going to take a commercial break, guys, and I'm going to end this segment with this is a quote from Andrew Sullivan, who's a conservative commentator and also a gay man.
Right.
And he's talking about this thing about the transsexuals. He says, there is a large body of silent opinion among gay men and many lesbians that deeply believes in the biological sex differences, cherishes and celebrates the male and female bodies, and does not see gayness as connected to transgender experience. That's just...
Yeah.
And I'm going to add one last thing. If Dr. Jill Biden had said it instead of Dr. Laura, I'll leave it at that.
And she's a doctor
That's right.
Correct. Yep.
of something. Who knows? All right, we're going to take a break, everybody. 20-minute, no, not 20 minutes. Not a 20-minute break. A 2-minute break. We're going to take a 2-minute break.
Yourselves.
And yeah, thank you, Don. And we'll be right back. Stay tuned, please.
4 times in a row.
AFT, American Firearms Training, Bureau of AFT. Yeah.
I never did get around to doing the actual announcements, so I'm going to make one right now because we actually have OAN on the television screen here, and our new hire here at CONK News, Alicia Powell, is going to be a guest on OAN this coming week. I don't know what show, I don't know what time, I know she's going to be on. So now you can see her piece. She's doing a show, a video podcast on CONK every 2 weeks called The Powell Report. And the first one is posted now on our front page. She's talking with Dr. Ely about a class action lawsuit that this organization that he runs is filing against the CDC for basically misleading freaking everybody on everything.
There's several government agencies that he's named.
Oh,
in. It's more
okay.
than just the
More than-
CDC,
yeah.
which is good.
I didn't know that.
Because
Yeah,
those
it's quite a-
weasels will move the
yeah.
ball around on them.
Yeah.
There's several of these people that are all in cahoots on this.
Are we going to talk about this mask stuff? Like,
Well, yeah.
is it canceled? Isn't it canceled?
That's on,
I mean,
let's go to that now.
I
That's
don't-
on the rundown.
Talk
yeah.
about stirring up a beehive, Pandora's box top getting ripped off. I mean, people are going to be punching each other in the airport and the plane soon. if they bring it back or they come with some Mickey Mouse deal.
Well, the good and very apropos, but here's what bothers me the most about this whole thing is how these folks project so much. In other words, what I have been reading on all the online sources is how the folks that are pro-mask and want everybody to wear them are so upset at everybody that isn't wearing them now on the airplanes and all that stuff. They're all very upset because the club is disbanding. You know, the band is breaking up now. And God, there was a much more salient point that I was going to make about this, but it just I interrupted myself and
It
it just
peters.
flew off.
Yeah.
It
It
flew out
peters.
of my brain via my nose, I think. So I'll come back when I actually have something
Okay,
to
well-
say.
Okay, we'll fill while you're thinking. Go ahead.
The mask thing, the government, it's like this, they've had this control over the lower half of our face for 2.5 years. And, a federal judge says, no, you can't do this. The airline people say hallelujah. The airline passengers say hallelujah. Everybody, who is burdened by this ruling says hallelujah that it's been overturned, except the government is not saying. So if all of the airlines and all of the people who fly are happy about this, why in the hell does the government want to keep doing it?
Well,
it's
that's
their power.
because they're stupid. But
It's the power thing, and there's also the government is trying to impose this ruling, this action. I'm not sure the exact term that. It was a Trump something that Trump set up that they're trying to get rid of, where medical personnel, doctors or other medical personnel, cannot be forced to perform abortions or to work on abortions. The Democrats under Biden want to impose that, where if they work at just wherever they work, if they do abortions, these people have to participate. And it's like, I'm opposed to legislation based on morality because I think that the First Amendment prevents that. You can't make laws based on morality. That's
Right.
part of freedom of religion. But also you can't impose laws on people that take away their freedom to make that choice. But the Biden administration wants to make the choices for everybody. And that's kind of what Zorro was getting at here earlier, is that, it's no longer we're no longer allowed to opt, to make the choice for what we want to do. We're being told what choices to make, and the people that accept this, the people that are all, the woke people, the cancelers, they want the choices to be made for everybody.
Yes, they do.
They want the government to make all our choices for us. But this thing, if people work someplace where abortions are performed, they're not talking about they're going to protest or get in the way or any of that kind of stuff. They're just saying if it morally offends them, they don't want to do it. And they don't have to currently unless the Biden administration gets their way. And then, this is like coming into a workplace. If I run a convenience store and I don't want to sell cigarettes, the government says, no, you have to sell cigarettes because you're a convenience store. And that's one of the things that's required of convenience stores. It's way imposing on business. It's imposing on people's private choices.
I want to touch on something that both you guys referenced, though, and that is the vast majority of people don't want this. But the thing is, there is a small minority, and I'm guessing it's about maybe 20% of people, like you were saying, Tim, who do want this imposed on everyone.
So this is. I remember the point that I was going to make, and
I knew you would,
and it's about projection. So if we look at the various clips that have made the rounds on Twitter or TikTok or whatever of these mask wearers absolutely flipping out, going out of their mind on people, looking like they're threatening them with violence. So now what you read on Twitter is that these same people are saying, these people who don't want to wear masks, they're going to start assaulting us. In other words, they're assuming that those people want to inflict the same kind of verbal and physical assaults on them that they did to us. And the fact of the matter is, and I'm going to predict it now, that's just not going to happen. Not unprovoked anyway.
Right.
It's just not going to happen. You want to wear a mask? Go ahead. Mm-hmm. As opposed to them going, you don't want to wear a mask? I'll wear mine.
And that's the
Go
thing.
ahead.
There are 330 million people here, and I'm sure a very small percentage of people have a reasonable reason for actually wanting to wear a mask.
Exactly.
They've either got some weird condition,
COPD, or they're older. Or
I'm not going to give shit to anybody who wants to wear a mask. You go right ahead.
Right.
It's like,
nobody that I know that's a non-mask wearer would. Nobody that I know, nobody in my community would bother somebody or assault them verbally. This just
Larry, you were going to say?
Yeah, and you're right. There are people out there who have major medical conditions, low immune system, and for those people, it's smart to wear a mask, regardless of COVID. If they have a low immune system and they have a heart condition or other severe conditions where they need to protect themselves from viral contaminants, it makes all the sense in the world. But the mandate is the problem. This is not a safety issue. I'll refer to Alicia's first podcast that you've got posted. It was a great podcast and brought up a lot of things, that we're talking about.
Yeah,
but,
we're very happy.
Yeah,
she's very good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the mandate is a control issue. It is a self-deprecating. We know that masking people, forcing people to wear masks is self-deprecating. It affects their psychological well-being. And so you look at what the real reason behind the masks are, it's not a public safety issue.
No, not at all.
It's Democrat math in my mind.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
If you don't want to get mugged, don't wear your jewelry and don't have your handbag with you because we can't control the thieves or keep you safe on the street. You got to, it's the Democrat math, 2 and 2 equaling 1.
It's because conservatives haven't taught their boys to not assault women.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I mean, you got it. It's the let's get to the lowest common denominator, and Larry, you've got it. no one would have worn a
or-
mask before the pandemic that had these health issues because everyone would have said, what the hell you got a mask on for? You can't go in the bank with a mask on. Now that it's flipped around and these people that have COPD or whatever can feel safe now knowing everyone's like, oh, you're wearing a mask. We get it. You probably don't want. And the bank doesn't throw you out for having it on because you got a medical issue. But 4 years ago, you would have never thought of putting a mask on because we're not Asian. They walk around with them all the time.
That's right.
Yeah.
That was their culture. Ours was, it's a cowboy culture. You're on the streets, you're a cowboy.
There's another truth that if you say that to the wrong person, you're a bigot, you're this, you're that. But it's a truth. I never saw anyone else
That's
wear
what
the
the
mask.
truth is now. That's what the truth is. When you come out and speak the truth, it offends people. That's the culture we're in now.
Yeah.
Whether it's regardless of your subject, if you come out and stand up for the truth, you will be attacked. They're going to put you down because they don't want to hear that.
And my wife saw something on TV yesterday. My wife watches TV and then tells me what's on because I didn't join in watching. But she saw this bit. Some woman, these hacks for getting picky children to eat, picky eaters to eat food. And it's like, they don't like to eat salad. If there's one thing in the salad that they don't like, they won't eat the salad. And so she puts little bits of everything out on little plates and they can pick what they want and out of it. And, some other stuff like that. And I'm saying, and then there's the other way, which is to say you eat what is put in front of you or you go to bed hungry. Be lucky that you actually got food to eat, that we can put food on the table, and that we take the time to make it and, appreciate it, consume it, or starve. I think those kids are going to grow up to be capable and do things, and the picky eaters are going to come into a job and say, I don't like this part of the job. I just want to pick this one garbanzo bean off this plate, that part of the job to do that. And
So,
that's why we've got all these weird people where...
Yeah, Mr. Conaway, my wife would tell me I'm an old curmudgeon for saying this. Tell me if your wife would too. We're raising a whole generation of, I'll be perfectly blunt, pussies.
Well,
It's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
It's like...
And it's more than that. It's not just cowardly, because they're brazen enough to try to tell us what we have to do based on their limitations. But
well put.
We're raising just snits, I would call them.
Well, and we've lost teaching our history because the schools are such a failed experiment. We've lost teaching our history, which means kids nowadays don't understand. 100 years ago, most people got up in the morning thinking about, how am I going to eat? When do I get to eat?
Thank you,
and if
Hank.
I don't get to eat, I got to make sure the following day I find some food. Now, that's only 100 years ago.
Well, even less, 70. Even 70
sure.
years
70.
ago.
You're right. 70
but
years ago.
that was a friend of mine was saying his kids were traveling. I want to say they were in Argentina. This is like a few weeks ago. We're in a bar, ran it. We're sitting there, heard some people talking. They were obviously speaking in Russian. They ended up bumping into each other, and the Russians were like paranoid because everyone hates them now, right? But the Russian gal said to these American kids, they're younger, they're in their 30s. She goes, all I can think of is we're going back to the day where you woke up every morning worried about what you were going to eat. Now, that's real to them. Mm-hmm. That's not real to us.
Yeah.
And we're on the same planet. We're spinning around the same sun. But we are so just spoiled. We are Rome ready to crumble.
Yeah. We got to pick those,
And you're absolutely right about that. We are in a bad situation. We are the most prosperous country in the world. We have more food in this country than anywhere. There is not one person out there who goes hungry if their parents take care of do what they're supposed to, provide them with the food. The children, I hear about kids going hungry in the United States and how terrible it is. If you backtrack and follow the money, who's getting the money from all these donations for all this stuff? It's a bill of goods sold to us. Now, I don't disagree that there are kids out there that may be hungry, but where's the parents? Why aren't the parents providing that to them? We have it.
Go ahead,
It's
Larry,
there.
please.
It's
Yeah.
available. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
I'm sorry. It's crazy.
It's because now we have succumbed to government-sponsored behavior modification. If you remember the school lunch program, instead of kids bringing stuff from home, they recognized that there were kids that maybe they didn't have enough for that, so they started the school lunch program. Great. So what happened? Everybody started to eat the school lunches, even though their parents were completely capable of sending them to school with a sandwich and stuff. Then what did the school lunch program become? It became breakfast. And I swear, I'm sure that there are places where you can get stuff to eat after school. So a kid in a given community could get 3 squares at school because their families have become so inured into this whole idea of that the government through the schools will provide. Then what's their motivation?
And the 3 squares come without any fucking bars on the windows or doors.
No, nope.
But you're part of it. You are locked up. They just don't include the bars,
Right.
and the locks on the doors.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and to me, people talk about being hungry. To me, being hungry means you don't have anything to eat and you don't know where your next meal is coming from. That's that kind of hunger. You until you experience that, you don't realize the importance of just this basic need and satisfying that basic need.
Now we have something called hunger insecurity.
Yeah.
What?
What? Oh, dude.
No,
so now there is having exactly what Tim just described, which is the real hunger, what my parents knew when they were, young in Puerto Rico. And
Yeah.
then there's hunger insecurity, where you might not get enough to eat. When you get home, it's just like, man, I don't know. Am I?
Is that the reason I look the way I do?
that's what I was going to say. I could have used
You are
more of that.
definitely not insecure, my man.
Or if you were, you ate everything, including the plate.
So it's amazing. It's like they say. It really is true that the best intentions always just lead to some kind of ruination. Honestly, and when the government gets a hold about it, forget about it. It's a fait accompli. It's just a matter of when it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Don, did you actually coin the phrase government-sponsored behavior modification?
Yeah, GSBM.
Yeah, I wrote it down.
I may have.
That's
I
going to
may
go on a
have.
T-shirt.
That needs
Okay.
a T-shirt.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's right. I wrote it down.
Did you catch the GSBM?
Yes, I did. I wrote that down first, and then I thought I better write down what it is or I'll forget.
But that really, find a
No,
better
that is
explanation.
a
That's it,
perfect
isn't it?
description.
Yeah. GSBM Plus is coming soon.
$7.99.
You get that with your
guys-
CNN.
Well, I mean, just go ahead, Larry.
Did you guys look at the CONK website?
Oh,
We
well,
got
yeah.
An article in there. We got an article in there on the politician that first pushed teaching sex education to kindergartners.
Oh, really?
2007. Wonder who that was. Did you see that?
No, actually didn't. No,
It's on CONK News.
I was
Never
looking at
forget.
I was looking at CONK about an hour before we started, but I didn't catch it. It might have flipped
Never
over.
forget, it was Barack Obama who first pushed teaching sex education to kindergartners in
Really?
2007.
Okay.
I got a little.
In 2007.
I got a little
Yeah.
news. I'm gonna because you mentioned it. I don't know if you guys heard this. Spotify did not renew the Obama's contract for their podcasts
Yes.
because they sucked.
Right. You got to have some.
What a surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not Sirius XM. That's just got tons of money. Spotify, you got to produce.
Yeah,
It's like
you
a
do.
PGA versus being a baseball player. The baseball player gets a guaranteed contract. PGA, if you don't win, you go home with your $10.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
And then you still have to buy a trailer to haul around all the time.
Yeah, well, and I'm sure that Barack Obama got all of his ideas from these, inner city, far left, progressive advocates that, for things like teaching sex education to kindergartners, for the government, the government mandating that you have insurance, and then, so that causing all the insurance companies to have to jack up their prices to deal with it because of the actuarial distress that comes from that, and then fining you if you don't go, if you don't pay $900 a month out of your salary of $1,500 a month to have that coverage.
And forgive me, I know we've talked about this before, but it really bears repeating. They celebrated the 12th anniversary of Obamacare. It's an abject failure. There's no way around this. This thing failed.
Yes.
All it did is make health insurance more expensive for everybody. And why are they celebrating? What the hell? Because they're government bureaucrats that decided they did something.
Yeah,
God.
and it's, and it's their idea of the government will take care of you, which is not the government's job. If they wanted to bring down the cost of insurance so that it's affordable for everybody, government subsidies for the training and education of medical professionals, and for the R&D and development of medical equipment, that kind of stuff would have a lasting impact on that. But no, it's the government's going to mandate this program that you have to participate in, and whether you can afford it or not, and we're going to throw money at the wrong end of the problem.
Yeah.
So that's...
They can't do anything right.
What?
It's like, and you're right. Government. It's not the government's job to make certain that you're secure. I mean,
I just wrote a little list of our newly coined phrase here.
and we will end this segment with this. Go ahead.
So, government-sponsored behavior modification, mass transit. The idea is to move people around. Now, I happen to think it's a good idea, but you can see, because of the way that they spend money and how they throw money at it and the way they waste money at it, that it's just this hole that they keep throwing money into that just gets worse. Then you've got public housing. I grew up in public housing. The concept of public housing is a very sound one. You pay a quarter of your income with the idea of eventually getting on your feet and moving out of it. That never happened.
Right.
The only reason it happened in my family because my folks went back to PR. I left the nest. My brother left the nest. And so that happened there. But there are generations living in the same apartment. That's not what was supposed to happen.
And I have questions. So you grew up in New York City, right?
Yeah.
All right. So there was no statutory limit to the amount of time you could spend in that apartment.
No. Not to my knowledge, because I knew people, like I say, that lived there for like a couple of generations, and I'll bet there are more. So if there is, it is not enforced.
Is the public housing you grew up in, does it still exist? The actual buildings?
Yeah. They're still on, and the last time that I saw it, they were in decent repair. They looked okay.
Uh-huh.
So then we have Operation Head Start, another nice sounding idea. Oh, let's give the kids, let's put them in this thing. It turns out it has absolutely no effect. That the kids who don't go to Head Start do just as well as the ones that went to Head Start. And how much money are we spending on that? And then we already talked about school lunches and the way that's gone in both directions to breakfast and after school kinds of
midnight
meals.
snack, the whole thing.
Yeah. So that's just four that I thought up off the top of my pointy little head.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll get a T-shirt going, Don. We all have our own T-shirts, and now you got one too. Larry, you got to come up with something. We'll put your name on a T-shirt. You probably don't want. You probably don't want that, but
We have to take a You take breaks?
Yeah,
I'm
no, we're
so
going
used
to take a
to
break.
being under the gun on that.
We're
live show.
going to take a break. Huh? What?
Okay,
What?
good. Thank you.
Yeah. No, we're taking a break. We're taking a break. Everybody. Here we go. 2 minutes, a couple, 3 commercials, and we'll be right back on the other side. All right, I was busy here pushing buttons. What are you guys talking about?
Nothing.
What's going on?
Nothing.
Nothing.
No. Don't worry about it.
Biden
Okay.
administration is talking with Cuba about migration. Like, Cuba is not the problem, folks, unless you count 70 people riding a raft across the ocean. When you got 2 million people coming across the border every day from Mexico.
It's easier to deal with the 70, though. I mean, I get it.
Well,
The
of course it
government
is.
official doesn't really want to have to deal with the 2 million. That would
And
take effort.
This is a standard leftist agenda and tactic, and that is you take something that's real, it really is real, COVID's real, transgenderism is real, and then you blow it completely out of proportion.
So that nobody pays attention to it or wants to deal with it because they get sick of it.
That's right, yeah.
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 Well, I wish we would, open up relations with Cuba. I don't think there's going to be a migratory problem from there if we actually engaged with them. They don't have, drug cartel problems. That's a great thing. That's what's driving people out of all these Central American countries and South American countries. They don't have the poverty that's associated with that. No business wants to locate in a country where the cartel guys are shooting at each other night after night and day after day, right out in the streets, where the cartel guys grab policemen and pull them out in their front yard and chop off their heads in front of their families. But in Cuba, we don't have that problem. They don't have that problem. We could get businesses going there. We could have good relationships, and people wouldn't want to migrate. The climate, the land, it's all very beautiful. But they need some income.
Yeah. And people forget that before 59, before Castro took over, Cuba was a very prosperous place and had a lot of American businesses located there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cuba. That's a hard one for me. Because it was prosperous, but under Batista, I'll tell you.
Well, yeah.
No, but see, that's the big problem. Was Batista? It could have been something that was really good. This whole thing in Godfather 2. I mean, this is the way that it was. There's a book called Havana Nocturnes, and it basically is all about this situation. I mean, it's like the real version of all the stuff that Michael Corleone was dealing with in The Godfather. And I think that they look at Lucky Luciano was actually kind of the Michael Corleone character. But the fear these days, and again, having been there a few times, I don't see that money that would come in would go to the places where it would serve the people best. Would it line the pockets of the leaders? I don't know to what extent. I just have this very strong feeling, and all it is a feeling. I can't back it up. That money that would go in would not get to the people for as much as they would say that this is what communism and socialism would do. There were some things that Castro did when he wasn't murdering people to improve literacy and all that. Of course, when one considers that they only could read approved sorts of things,
right?
And then what exactly is literacy when you don't have the freedom to read what you want to read? So Cuba, I think, is a very tricky place. I would like to see something positive happen there, but I just don't know if it's going to happen short of a revolution.
Well, see, but what I'm talking about is businesses locating there, and not just necessarily U.S. businesses, but being more open to businesses. Then the people work directly for the business. I don't, giving money to other governments I think it's a waste of our money. The $47 billion or something that we spent, $billion we spent a couple of years ago, which is the last time they can give us a full accounting. They can't even tell us like what we spent in 2021. They can only tell us what we spent in 2019. They can't even keep track of it. They're giving so much away, and they give money to Iran. We give American aid to Iran, and it's not, it doesn't go to the people. Wherever we give it doesn't go to the people. It goes through the government. So, no, I don't give any money to Cuba that way, but open it up so that businesses can operate there, and then people get jobs, people get paid.
All I'm saying is that the government isn't set up for that to happen.
Well, I understand. That's, but that government with Raul, and he's, I think, beyond his capability.
I have to ask a stupid question. Is he still alive?
Raul
is.
Yeah,
Is he still running it?
But no.
Ceremonially?
Yes,
No.
What's the name? I forget the name of the president.
Chinese man named Xi is running it.
Well, good point.
Yeah.
Okay.
90 miles away from Florida, and he likes the location.
Yeah.
I guess OAN is really into rhetorical questions, aren't they? See the little crawler, it says, are progressives to blame for New York City crime spike?
Yeah, really. I know.
Sorry. This is
what do
your
you-
fault for having the damn
It's my,
TV
it's
on.
my problem. I know it's my fault.
He is
It's my
a
fault.
problem.
Yeah, it's my fault. I'm actually, guys, I'm going to go forward here. I got another thing on the rundown, and I think we have to talk about this because I just find this is ridiculous. I know a lot of people in the media have talked about this week.
This is like
and
the
that
way
is-
my dad would proceed his little speech to me, as if we have to talk about this.
That's just the libs of TikTok thing.
Oh!
So no. The thing is, there's something here. Oh, are you good, glad, or not? Good, because there's something to me everybody's missed in the obviousness of it. So now the thing is, I'm going to set this up. If you've been living in a cave, there's this woman who she anonymously for months and a couple of years
Caves
has
are very secure.
well, what, huh?
Caves are very secure.
Yeah.
And the temperature is easy to control.
Anyway, she's been running this account on Twitter called The Libs of TikTok, and all she does is repost videos other people have posted. Now, that's the obvious part. She's not doing anything other than reposting videos that are already public.
And she might have a little headline or caption in there
Occasionally,
like I can't believe this, or
Right.
isn't this nuts? That's it.
There's a little bit of
That's it.
editorializing, but not much. Most
Very
of the time, she just posts videos.
Yeah.
And the thing, people send them to her. And so the liberals got really mad because she's making them look foolish, even though all of these videos are already public.
And we've gone all the way around. We're talking about truth and being uncomfortable with truth. Bingo!
Yeah.
This is case in point.
Yeah.
They are uncomfortable with truth. All that she did, and I followed, even though I don't have TikTok, I would see the repostings on Twitter. And, it was just absolute loons saying the most ridiculous possible things with very little editorializing. You just drew your own conclusion. And then the commentary is what you live for.
Yeah.
Because I have to say, people are so damn clever. The things that they say in the comments. But anyway.
Well, that is one thing. I think Twitter's personally, I think is generally a cesspool. But one thing it has been good at demonstrating is the witticism of the general public. There's really no real difference between Oliver Darcy on CNN and some dork in Pennsylvania just posting. I mean, he's just as smart. There are no experts anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, we proved that. Yeah, but no, it's the thing that's obvious that gets lost in this is that this is already public. This shit's already public. She's not doing anything. It's like that's the crazy
She's doing everyone
part.
a favor. She's consolidating.
Yes, that's what she's doing.
Right.
She's
I mean,
consolidating
why can't
it.
we be thankful that we're not wasting a bunch of green energy scrolling everywhere? You can just go right there.
You can be inundated by the idiocy. I don't TikTok and I don't twit. I don't do any of
You
those
sit
things.
across from a few, but
And some people would say, well, that's because I'm an old man, but actually I'm, pretty tech savvy. I just have never found any value in those means of communication. And I do have limited time. I mean, when I am on the worldwide interweb, I am looking for information. I'm looking for stuff that pertains to, projects that I'm
Well,
on.
that's the thing. I would say you're working.
Yeah, so none of this other stuff appeals to me. So when I hear about TikTokers and all that kind of stuff, I don't know. It was just like when I was in high school and I wasn't in any of the cliques of the more wealthy kids in town because I didn't have time for that shit. I had to go to work. Or, I played a sport and then I had to go to work. Or I had to get up early and work and go to school. So
He just made me feel bad because he proved he's better than me.
well, I'm not saying I'm better than
No,
other
I'm
people.
teasing. I'm teasing.
I just don't.
Don, you're sexier than all of us.
that was just your life experience, and that's why we have this show, because
That's
we're
right,
giving
that's right.
people a perspective from our place.
Yeah, it's like there's so many other better ways to use the information access that we have. And I have never looked at TikTok. It was described to me, and the description was like I didn't even have to hear the whole thing.
Well, I think I've told you guys for something we were doing here at CONK News, I had to sign up for a TikTok account, and I was fucking appalled.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Our kids, China says there's no data to mine here. What they've done is they've just permanently distracted our children. It's like, their kids are learning calculus. Our kids are posting stupid dance videos or 15-year-old girls shaking their racks. And it's like, I mean, really, it's both disgusting and appalling. I didn't believe what the fuck I'm looking at. It's like,
I
Christ.
didn't know about the teenage racks.
No,
Do
I'm
you have a link?
serious.
I should have heard.
Do you have a link?
No, I don't.
Link, he said.
I
Link.
don't. I don't.
L-I-N-K.
I don't. But I mean, I don't believe. I mean, I'd heard about this, and it was just as bad, if not worse, than what I'd heard.
But
It's
remember, they've
unbelievable.
taken away, again, I'm going back to these failing schools. They've taken away America's want to be the greatest, to be the best.
Yes.
And to be the best, you can't have very many distractions in your life. If
No.
you're committed to running a great business or a household, whatever,
That's correct.
you
You're
have
absolutely
to spend
right.
time.
Because being the best is bad. And
Yes.
that's what we learned from Obama. That's why he went on his apology tour. That's why he felt that America needed to be taken down a notch. That's what his whole damn presidency was all about, was the idea that somehow we needed to have a little bit more humility put upon us. And damn it if he wasn't going to be the guy to go around and do it. Be more like Europe. Yeah, okay, let's
Right.
see how that's working out.
Well, I would like to point out that as a person, other than being president, Mr. Obama has almost no accomplishments. He was the editor of the Columbia Law Review. That's
and
about
that,
it.
Harvard-
and that is
Harvard
the
Law.
Harvard Law Review, and that is a popularity concert.
Yeah.
Contest. That's
right.
not something that he earned.
That's correct.
That's
Yeah.
just because the guy was easy to talk to and relatively good looking, and he was black, and it's like, oh man, this guy's fun. Let's put him that he's
Yeah,
going to be
I would
the
also say
ambassador.
The major partier.
Anything you
Yeah.
did in college is not a real accomplishment anyway. That's my personal feeling, but it happens afterwards.
The accomplishments are what you supposedly learn in college and then apply to real life.
Thank you. Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.
Well, and being the best takes work. It takes, as Hank said, it's not only you don't have time for the distractions, or you don't, the distractions get in the way of that. You have to work, and you have to work at it all the time, and that has to be your focus and your goal. And today's kids, if they have to work, they whine, and mommy and daddy don't do anything because they don't want to hear the kid whine. Instead of sticking to it, they discipline their kid. The discipline lasts about 10 minutes. They don't carry through with what they say, the grounding or the electronics taken away or whatever. So the parents are not letting the kids, or not making the kids do the work. The kids are growing up saying, "Oh, we don't want to do the work." And anybody who says we need to work, is wrong, and we got to get rid of them.
And Tim, the exception, and this is a part where I'm quasi-racist, and once again, I don't care. The exception is the Asian community. Culturally, the Asian community is still stressing excellence among their children.
Oh, yeah.
And they're getting rightfully increasingly pissed off about the fact that that's being marginalized because of the lack of test scores, the lack of meritocracy and to get into colleges. People are starting not to care about this shit, and so their kids they're learning at I'm generalizing, obviously. They're learning at an above average level of everyone else, and no one seems to give a fuck.
And the only time that the left cared is when they thought that the right wing was on top of them because of the COVID stuff. Well, that disappeared very quickly. Now they're being beaten and killed by another community.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to talk about
it. That's
nobody
correct.
Because the truth makes people uncomfortable. So this is the truth, the truth edition. I think
that's right. That's what you're right. Thank you. We already have a title.
That is our theme.
Go ahead, Larry. You haven't talked for a while. I love it when you talk.
You do? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I do.
It's. I mean, that's where we're at with the Truth Edition. The truth is attacked. They don't like it. Nobody likes it. Yes, Obama came out. We're going to fundamentally change this country, and he's still at it.
The only time he did speak the truth,
where Biden's standing up there at the podium, and you've got who's really running the country, and you got Obama standing behind him. It's there.
That's interesting.
But they don't.
No, go ahead. Finish.
The truth is not anybody's cup of tea anymore. Okay, and it used to be that the truth was everything about character. It's all about character. It's what you do, not what you say. It's what you do.
Absolutely.
If you say one thing and do another, okay, you lied to me. All right, but we're going to run that down. If truth doesn't matter anymore. Okay, I'm done.
I don't have children. Larry, do you have kids? I never asked you. You have kids?
I've got kids and I've got grandkids.
Yeah. Okay. Congratulations. I don't. I'm the only person here that doesn't, I think. But I've always thought the thing that kids have to know is that there are no special people, but you can do special things. That's the thing. Right. None of us are special. We, in terms of our humanity, but people can do special things. But you got to actually do them. I'm
teaching the grandkids right now. It just whatever situation you get into, stop, take a breath, and think. Use your brain. Any situation you come up to, if you'll stop and think, you can figure it out. And that's what your brain's for. That's what God gave it to you for. Okay? Think. Okay? The truth matters. Character matters.
Think.
Use your brain.
You know what, Larry? In that case, you know what you all should do is watch the new Lost in Space thing, the one that started in 2018, because it is literally about that. Every episode is about finding some scientific ways that's based in actual science, not kind of made up science fiction, but actual science to get out of situations that happen to them. And that's the first thing I thought of when you said that. The only thing is, if I don't know how old the kids are, but there's a little language in there. But if that's not a huge problem, it is a very healthy show to watch from the standpoint that you just mentioned.
Yeah, if you're in a situation where your survival depends on overcoming the obstacles, facing the problem and finding a solution, then you got to put your brain in gear, because if you just freeze up or say it's not fair, then the outcome is going to be very, very unpleasant.
Well, that's just the only thing that we can teach these kids now with what's going on in the world and everything that we've been talking about. You've got to teach these little kids. You have to think for yourself. You have to know, what's right. You know what's wrong. Think. Figure it out. You know what's right, and go forward with that. And I don't think we can start teaching these kids young enough. I got a grandson that's 4 years old. He's with us 2 days a week. And I'm out here teaching him all kinds of stuff like that. Think for yourself. Yes, the language is on everything. Every TV show, everything, he's going to be exposed to it, okay? The bad language and the bad words. He already knows. Yeah, he hears them, okay, but he knows that's wrong. And the TV shows that came on, like the Lost in Space, the language part, kids have to deal with that. They have to learn early. Yes, other people are going to say that, but I'm not going to.
Well, then
I
highly recommend this show then. Honestly, I was very impressed. There are lots of opportunities for them to go into a lot of woke stuff, and they completely resist it, which I couldn't believe it. I honestly couldn't believe it. I mean, I spent the last month binging on the show. 3 seasons, it's like 10 episodes per season, so you're done pretty quickly.
You got me hooked in.
I'm telling you, it is one of the most interesting, well-written, great characters, and it's not at all like the old Lost in Space we grew up on.
Yeah,
it really is a very very well done new version.
Is there what was the name of the stowaway? Dr. Smith. Is he in this one?
I'm not going to say a word.
Okay,
I'm not going to say a word.
Folks, we're going to take one more break here. 2 minutes. We'll be back on the other side. Stick with us.
Do we have a drummer in the house? Let's find out!
A lot of headbanging over here.
The devil is a lady.
4:21 though. We missed it by a day. Doesn't shave her leg.
Part 4 of CONK News Weekend. I'm Jim Peters. We got Hank Reardon here. We got Tim Conaway here. We got Don Zorro here. And we got Larry Newman there.
Yay!
Yay!
All right, so I'm trying to figure out how to. I'm not going to go to the kicker
turn the
quite
music
yet.
down.
I'm turning it down, Don. It's working. It's working. I got my hand on the little pot here. It's good.
Excuse me.
So,
Excuse
no.
me.
If that's what that's what the controls, the volume controls on a mixer are called. They're called pods. Yeah. I know all that stuff.
Yeah. That's a movie reference. That's a movie reference.
The human feedback machine. So here's the deal. Bernie Sanders says he might run for president again. Now the deal, and let me give you the statistics. 58% of Americans think Biden should receive a cognitive test. Less than 25% of voters strongly believe Biden is stable. 54% of adults think Biden is not mentally sound enough to serve as president. 29% of Americans think Biden will pursue a second term. Bernie Sanders is a year older than Biden.
Yeah. Well, and I brought this up on the radio show the other day with Hank, is that it isn't necessarily the age, because I know a lot of people in their 70s and 80s, even 90s, who function well. You got full cognitive function.
Totally agree.
Right. Can do that stuff. The problem is these grapes turn into raisins sitting in that same, humidor, whatever that container is called Congress and the White House. These people who've been there for 40 years just wither up, and they're never challenged anyway. They're never challenged about what they do. They're never challenged about the results that they're supposed to get. And they're certainly never intellectually challenged in any way. Their staff does all the information gathering and thinking. The biggest thing these people have to do is read a teleprompter, or read off a card when they're making their speech in front of the Senate or the House, or in Joe's case, just go off the cuff and say any stupid thing that comes along. So, it's the conditions that as you age, if you do not engage your mind, it's like Larry's saying, we teach our kids to think and solve problems. Older people need to think and solve problems too to keep the brain functioning.
Well put.
No, let me tell you just one thing. It's not a question of me have a problem with my brain. My brain is working fantastically. It's just that I'm an idiot. So things come out of my mouth that I have no idea what I'm saying. But my brain works fantastically well. This is the way that we work in Vermont.
Well, this has been the thing with. Go ahead.
I'm super excited that we could get Hillary coming back into the ring, Bernie coming back into the ring, and Conaway's off slightly. It's not a humidor. The Congress is held in a drain field of a septic system would either be the gray water or the solid. So, there's two places that they migrate between the solids and the gray water.
That would be
the Senate and
House
one
and
is the
Senate.
House.
That's right.
However you want to label them.
Our national septic system.
Well,
right.
We were talking about that before the election, and everyone was saying, "Is Biden senile?" It's like, no, he's not senile. He's just dumb.
Yeah.
He's been like this all his
He
life.
has been like this forever.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mediocre.
Well,
and-
look at
Go ahead, Blair.
okay. We're looking at Washington D.C. Okay, all right. You've got some figureheads. Okay, they're called representatives and senators. That go up there and they do what they're told by all the staff, like you said, and all of the inside the beltway people who control all these 535 figureheads. Okay, and it doesn't matter. The best person in your district could run Congress and go to Washington, and he will conform, or he's not going to survive.
Yeah.
So we're not being controlled or governed by the people that we actually elect. It's all of the staff and all of the network and spider web of influencers and controllers that, like you said a while ago, that shove them out there, give them a script, and say this. Biden's done nothing in his entire time up there. How did he get elected? He hasn't done anything ever.
Well,
But
in some ways, that's the
people
power
that
of the
control-
incumbency. You know,
Yeah,
once
it's all
you get
about the
in-
money. And
yeah.
I keep
But
saying that, guys, but it's all about the money.
It's even gotten worse in the years now that Biden has taken over, because literally everyone he has with him is a total rube of Obama's. Think about it. Yesterday, the baseball team had some skydivers launched out of a plane to jump into the baseball field for a home opener or whatever, the Washington
Right.
Senators or whatever.
Nationals.
Nationals. And our CIA, FBI, everyone in D.C. panicked. They cleared the Capitol. They were unsure what's this airplane doing? Think about how, we now have, they said the adults were coming into the room. No. We got the dipshits from the fucking
We got
frat pack.
the high school
All
student
the frat
council.
guys are there, and all the sorority bitches are
That's
there.
right.
And they got no clue because it's daddy's money.
Yeah.
But that's how bad it's gotten in that
Yeah.
town in the year and a half that Ding Dong's been there, that they don't even know what's going on at the baseball
Hank,
field.
I read that story and I thought this is the poster child for incompetency in D.C. Nobody knew fucking anything.
And if you're someone who's thinking ill about what you want to do in that town, you just got a pretty good clue. No one's really paying attention.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
And nobody was, nobody in the whole group apparently knew what was coming up, the plans, with the baseball team.
I worked on a project down there just north of Lafayette Park, and it was a large glass structure that was put on the front end of this building. and we had a piece of lift equipment, and we had these long poles for doing washing and some stuff. We were up there testing what was wrong with the surface of this glass. Every morning we got in that thing, we went up in the air and we stopped, and we had to look at the top of the or in the direction of the Capitol to the south, or the White House, to make sure everyone on the roof there knew it was, make sure they can see your face. Don't point those sticks at them, Keep them at the building. I mean, that was for a stupid construction project.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
How in the hell did they not know what was going on who is in charge there? Psaki?
Well, this is. I actually have this on the rundown for today. That whole thing with the Easter Bunny. Now that's a week old, but the thing is that did really bring something up. Everyone's asked this question. No one seems to have the answer. Who is really in charge of the government? It does not appear to be Joseph Biden. It doesn't. So if he isn't, who is? Is it Ron Klain, the chief of staff? I don't know. Is it a committee? Do they just vote in there about what they're going to do? Like, what is going on? And as far as I can tell, no one in any media seems to know the answer to this question, as far as I can tell.
Well, there are no leaders or real policy makers among this group. Like Hank said, they're just a bunch of holdovers from Obama, the same people that, really another ineffective group. And I think they're all looking at their cell phones, looking at what's on Twitter to see, what their next move is, to see what the woke people are saying they need to do, or to see what people are saying about them so that they can lie and say, no, we're doing a good job. No, they don't have a leader in the White House.
No, they don't.
And they don't.
No, they don't.
The people who are usually the policymakers or the people who kind of pull all the administration's actions together they've never had to accomplish anything. They've never really been held accountable to do anything. So yeah, it's just. I forget how many people they put in, like 4,000 people, 4,800 people or something work at the White House or for the White House. And why the hell they need that many people is beyond me.
Well,
but
that was one of the things that Trump was trying to stop, was just knocking down the redundancy of the people that were over
and none of them are doing anything. I mean, the lowest level guy there could probably be making the policy.
Yeah.
Yes, I think when we are never going to see the bottom of the Hunter Biden situation, because as I go back to what I said a while ago, when a legislator goes up there, his family is given all kinds of jobs and opportunities, and we've got too many foreign countries who are paying millions of dollars to too many family members of our legislators, and if it comes out that Hunter Biden was collecting money on behalf of his dad, it's going to crumble the whole house, because there are tons of them up there. Mitch McConnell's wife.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
She's
we talk
Chinese,
about that all the time. That's right.
And if you go to looking, every one of those people have family members who are getting money from somewhere. So things like that. That's why you don't get resolution to investigations.
So, Larry, I don't know if
it's going to take them all down.
I don't know if you caught this, Larry, this week, and I think this was in one of the speeches he made about Ukraine, but it was an offhand comment during a question when Joe Biden said that for many years he was the poorest person in Congress. Now, that may be true, but one thing Hank and I have talked about that we've noticed, and as I'm sure all you guys noticed too, no matter what the wealth is of someone who comes into either the House or Senate, it seems like a certain number of years will go by and their income won't change. And then in 1 year, their income absolutely skyrockets dramatically. And that's the year they bite onto the corruption. That's what happened. And so I find it hilarious that Biden is talking about being one of the poorest persons in Congress. I do, he has a tendency to exaggerate, so I don't know if that's true, but if it is.
Corn Pop took all his money.
Yeah,
well, I think the money,
that's right.
The money gets saturated into the families to the point to where there's no other option but for the congressman to go ahead and take that money and start reporting it, because the families and the extended families have just gotten so filthy rich on this stuff that that's how it works. I mean, and it's not just us. Look at Russia. Putin's two daughters are two of the richest people in the world. So it's not just us, but that's how the world works now.
Yeah.
It's all about the money. It's all about who's getting the money. And so when you go to talking about who's controlling the White House, where's the money coming from? Now, China and Russia and those places don't give the family members of politicians that money just out of the goodness of their heart.
No, that's true. Yeah. That's true. And, okay, so we're ending on a real downer.
Sorry.
You got the kicker?
No, that's okay. We got the kicker. And believe it or not, all right, here we go. Here, I got the kicker. So I got the kicker.
The kicker.
I got the kicker. But the thing is, my kicker this week is not really that joyous or funny either. I'm sorry. Do you guys know who Robert Morse is or was? Robert Morse was
The
an
actor?
actor.
Yeah.
He passed away a couple days ago. I think yesterday. He was 90. Now, he's had a really interesting career because he bookended like two important things in American drama. He was the star of the musical How to Succeed in Business Without Even Trying in 1963. And in some ways, although it was written to do this, he kind of reprised that role under a different name for the show Mad Men a couple of years ago. And so he ended up doing both of those things and kind of, and like people don't remember this, maybe you guys do, How to Succeed in Business was a huge Broadway hit.
Oh, yeah.
And also, it was kind of about the times. I mean, it was like, it was a cultural hallmark or stalwart, if you will, you know. And he reprised the movie. That was in 63. In 67, he reprised his role in the movie. And the writer here who wrote this obituary even said it's true. Just in that 4 years, the zeitgeist of America had changed. The movie was not as popular as the musical was. But still, and then in Mad Men, which is probably my all-time favorite dramatic television show, he ended up playing Bert Cooper of Sterling Cooper. He ended up owning this ad agency, and it was basically the same character. And they chose him specifically for that reason. He played the same guy. Mad Men was not a musical, although I don't know if you guys saw this. When Bert Cooper died in the show, he appeared to Don Draper in a musical number as a ghost. So that was kind of interesting too.
I thought you were going to say that he started at the OJ trial and now his ending died right before the Johnny Depp thing was settled. I thought that was
Well, you know,
like a real time bomb, right?
Johnny Depp, his life was saved by getting a guitar when he was 12. He spent time in his room. If you haven't heard the stunning testimony, you know, you're just hang on every word, and I mean hang because it's just like...
Why doesn't he act it out?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be more in his
You want him to
wheelhouse?
shorten the rope to stop the pain.
Yeah, because that is television news at its very best. Johnny Depp testifying. You know, TMZ probably will sum up this whole trial in about a 5-minute segment.
Yeah, it'll be very funny.
And it'll be funny.
That's right.
But nothing about this, you know. And yeah, Fox News, I mean, I can see him giving you clips of it, but
Yeah, they're
the
running
whole
it.
thing?
just sitting there watching, and nothing could have been more boring. I'd say his lawyers didn't want to script him because they didn't want it to sound too scripted.
Yeah.
But he's an actor, so he could have, if they had told him he was playing the part of Johnny Depp on trial giving testimony, it probably would have been pretty good. But instead, they just let him talk. And an actor without a script is like taking the brakes off a semi at the top of the hill.
There's one interesting thing about Depp's career, though, and that is, with one singular exception, he's always played either weirdos or fictional cartoon characters. He's only played a quote-unquote real person one single time, and that totally bombed. I can't remember the name of that movie.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
he was John Dillinger.
Something like I don't know. I
Yeah.
can't
The
remember.
split
Willie
screen
Sutton
is
or
good on
something.
the eyes, though. When you look at that goofball, him, and then you look at his wife, it's like, dude, yeah, you messed that up.
Yeah.
He's
But
long gone.
she's an actress, and I just want to say, all these people are wacky. So
Yeah.
If the more successful they are, the wackier they are.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
You put these two wackos together in a relationship, which is, as Jim said, started with an on-screen kiss. They fell in love with an on-screen kiss, and they thought they were in love because their characters in the movie were in love, and so, it took them 12 years to figure out that, hey, we were just pretending that we did it.
Well, that's the reason I don't kiss you during the podcast, Mr. Conway.
We want the relationships to stay really whole.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's correct.
That separation adds a little dramatic tension to
And with that, ladies and germs, we're going to call it a day, a week. So we want to thank Hank Reardon's here. Thank you, Hank.
Thank you for having me
We want to
today.
thank Tim Conaway.
Keep it up.
We want to thank Don Zero. And we want to thank Larry Newman.
Yay.
I'm Jim Peters.
Oh, we're not starting over. Okay.
Yeah, no, we're not. No.
We're going to do it until we get it right.
We'll be here forever. So I just want to remind you folks, we do a live show on Blog Talk Radio Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern. It's either me and Hank or Tim and Hank. It's basically with Tim sits in on Tuesdays. And so, and that's we talk about the day's news. It's kind of a newscast, except we don't look like Nora O'Donnell. We don't wear those dresses.
And I also want to remind people that when they go to the blog post or when they go to anything, if they go to the bottom, there's an opportunity to upvote the thing. And of course, we're not interested in downvotes. I'm only talking to the upvote people. So go ahead and do that. We're just all curious here as to how many people are reading these things.
Now, I was just looking. You is it aggregate or you got 2 upvotes on your piece?
My folks are dead, so I have no idea who they are.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't even know how it works. Is that the aggregate of down votes and down votes, or is that?
You mean if does one cancel the other out?
Right. I don't even know.
Dude, you own the website.
I know.
not me.
I know. Well, I don't own it, but I run it. Yeah. So yeah, I should.
Dude
I should.
looks like a lady.
I should find. God.
Sorry.
Oh my God.
Sorry, Steven.
It's terrible. So yeah, at any rate, we do that radio show on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, and it is a good way to find out what happened on the news. It's an hour long, and we hope.
Start over, like Larry said.
Yeah, right. Okay, I'm not starting over. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you next week. Take care.
Bye now.